In this video, I'm going to show you how to create an installer using InnoSetup. Older Windows games on CD tended to use install shield installers, which don't work that well on modern Windows and would use compression that isn't as good as modern methods. CDs would also include redistributables for ancient versions of DirectX and ancient dial-up service installers and other such cruft. I'm going to show you how to install an old game and repack it with a modern 64-bit installer. The first program you'll need is InnoSetup. It's a free open-source installer program that's also used by GOG.com for their installers. Be sure to download the Unicode version. Then there's ISTool. ISTool is a graphical interface to InnoSetup, as InnoSetup's interface is nothing more than a text editor. Finally, you'll need RegShot. RegShot will take a snapshot of your registry, so you can add the keys the game's installer creates into your own installer. The first thing to do is to insert your game CD. Then you'll want to run RegShot. If you're on a 64-bit version of Windows, you should run the x64 Unicode version. Before you run the game installer, you click First Shot and then Shot. And then you can run your installer. Here I'm doing Unreal. When you install a game, you should do a full or maximum install. Then you should install any patches, add-ons, and no CD patches you might need. For instance, here we have an upgrade patch for Unreal. Once that stuff's done, you hit Second Shot. Then you hit Compare. It will create a text file showing all the changes the installer made. The keys and values added are near the top of the file. You should also save the file just in case you close out the Notepad instance. Then you should load regedit. Once you're in regedit, you need to find the keys that were added. If it says HKLM there, it's HKey local machine, and if it's HKU, it's HKey users. You see these keys here? Find them over in regedit. Right-click on one and hit Export, and then save it somewhere. If you have more than one key directory to export, you'll have to export each one individually. Once you're done with that, you should make a copy of the installed game files, just in case you screw something up. The next program to load is ISTool. I screwed this part of the video editing up a little, and so this is the second thing you should do in ISTool. Go to Files and Durs, and then drag and drop everything from the game directory over to the ISTool window. Click Add Directory and hit Enter each time it asks you about that. Now to the first thing you should do, which is the setup options. Under Compiler, you should click Solid Compression, LZMA, Ultra 64, and Ultra 64 again. You should also fill out the version and program information on the right-hand side. Enable disk spanning if the game is going to be more than 2 GB or so when it's been compressed. Fill out the application name and other stuff under the Application tab. App Directory is where you fill out the default install location. PF in the squiggly brackets means program files. Here I've chosen C/Unreal as the default, but you could also have it as squiggly bracket PF/Unreal as well. You should also fill out this stuff under install too. You can choose an uninstall icon here after you've gone back and added the files to the Files and Dir section. To import registry entries, you go to Project, Import from File, and Registry. Now you add all the registry files you exported. Now you go to Script on the left pane to see your script, and then go down until you find the registry keys that were imported. If you see WOW6432 node, select from the first slash to the end of it, and then do a find and replace to replace it with nothing, as Windows will handle placing the key in the correct location. You should also check the keys for the install location, and then find and replace the install directory with squiggly bracket app squiggly bracket. When the program installs, the registry keys will be written with where you chose to install it. You also might want to set your script up to use better compression. You should add LZMA use separate process equals yes to your script. You also might want to add LGMA num fast bytes to the script. I prefer to set this to 128, but this doesn't affect things that much. You should also add LGMA dictionary size to the script. Since I'm making these installers for a modern PC, I set this to the highest setting of 1 GB, which will provide better compression than the default settings. Then there's the icon settings. If you want to add the icons that the game installed, you find the icon you want to add, check the properties, and then you can type the name of the icon in IS Tool. You copy the target field to file name. You'll also need to replace the directory name with app in squiggly brackets, but you can do a find and replace all later on if you want to. It's also possible to create icons that'll go on your desktop as well. You might want to check out the constants page of the InnoSetup documentation because it has lots of important abbreviations on it. If you want to add a desktop icon, you'll use User Desktop or Common Desktop. One last thing you should do is to select all the registry keys and then go into the properties and click Delete key on uninstall to clean up the keys if you uninstall the game. Now you can save the script. You can finally open the script in InnoSetup. Go to Compile and click Compile and it will compress the files. One last thing. You should also set the default program group name. You go to Program Group and write something in the default program group field. Now that it's finished compiling the script, you can give it a try. And now you have a So you now have a modern installer made up. This only covers the basics of it. Some games need to be installed with third-party installers, and this doesn't cover the use of more advanced compression methods for installers. But yeah, this should be enough to get you going anyway. If you like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Twitter, check out my Twitch channel, and see you next time!